So we just finished a voting series, and I think that more of our folks will be here. But I want to thank you all for being here today. This is incredibly important, some of the things we get a chance to talk about. And the issue today, to me, is incredible. I think this is one of the most complicated issues that's come up. And while I try to avoid that when I'm back home, people will still ask me to do it. And I said, listen, I live in a world of acronyms. I have no idea, nor neither do you, as to what's going on. But we will try to address at least the start of it today on a global tax situation that makes no sense to me for America. So I want to thank you all for being here today. We'll be talking about OECD's Pillar 1 negotiations. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity for my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and myself to hear our witnesses' testimony and perspective on OECD Pillar 1 and what the Biden administration's negotiations mean for America. So just clearly starting off, and I asked Elise, who's put all this together, who she serves with me in our office, if you could put some glossary together so we could look at all these acronyms and give us some kind of an idea of what it is that we're talking about, and it's almost impossible to do. But the Organization for Economic Operation and Development is the OECD. The Biden administration is negotiating a bad business deal for America, with U.S. companies and taxpayers will foot the bill. This Pillar 1 deal, negotiated at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and was originally intended to eliminate the digital service tax to create a fair playing field globally. But in reality, their proposal will not equalize the playing field. This tax burden will fall disproportionately on American companies, which are nearly half of the largest and most profitable in the world. I bought several things today that just props. And if we can, do we have the one? So this is Atlas with the whole world on his back. And instead of Atlas, let's imagine this as America. And somehow we are saddled with the idea that if it's to be, it is up to us, and we must be the participants at an unusual level in order to make some of these things work. I'm sorry, I was born in America, my business is all America, everything I've done is America, and if it hadn't been for America, there would probably be not the world that exists today because of World War I and World War II, and we continue down a road which is really scary. The Biden Treasury Department has worked with OECD and foreign governments to craft this Pillar 1 proposal instead of with the legislative body, which represents the Americans that will have to pay for this deal. And in my eyes, the worst part of this negotiation is Treasury's complete lack of cooperation with Congress on OECD Pillar 1. The Biden administration leapfrogged Congress and put the interest of foreign governments ahead of the concerns of the men and women elected to represent Americans' taxpayers. We will do our due diligence to protect American companies and consumers and ensure they get a good deal. Let's state the facts here. 2/3 majority is required in the Senate for enactment of Pillar 1. In today's political environment, it is hard to believe that we get that much support even on naming a post office, let alone an international tax treaty. It's simply not feasible without taking into consideration frequent and significant input from Congress. The aspect I find most ironic, Pillar 1 falls apart without the United States' invested interest. Literally, the proposal written by OECD requires the United States to be involved in the final deal. But why, you may ask, without America's taxing rights under Pillar 1 collapses? That tells me everything I need to know, and if we can, we'll give Atlas a break. I just want you to look at the number of countries that are involved with this, and it would be an interesting exercise for somebody to take a look at this and understand where is America? Who props up? There's 145 different countries. I mean, I'm trying to look at some of these, and quite frankly, and not that I'm uneducated, but I have no idea who these countries are, where they're located, and more critically, why is it involved in any kind of a tax policy that we're trying to develop? So, thank you. Now, the Biden administration needs to be transparent with Congress on strategy on Pillar 1. Congress has requested revenue estimates from the Biden administration. They have failed to follow through on this request. Previously, Secretary Yellen acknowledged that if enacted, Pillar 1 would reduce U.S. revenues. Through Treasury's public comment period, U.S. businesses pointed to significant flaws with Pillar 1. Now, I'm concerned that the Biden Treasury is putting the interests of foreign governments before U.S. businesses and the American economy. Just this week in the Wall Street Journal, it was noted the benefit to America still hasn't appeared. The OECD deal that Treasury and Secretary Yellen just signed the United States up for. So we still don't know, how does that help us? But the facts are simple. Through Pillar 1 negotiation, U.S. companies would bear far more than our fair share out of the 145 countries involved, and confirmed this week by JCT estimates. More specifically, if Pillar 1 would have been in place in 2021, the U.S. would have lost $1.4 billion in tax revenues. At the end of the day, folks, this is about the U.S. economy's security. Is the Biden administration going to sacrifice the financial success of U.S. businesses and our economy for international accounting bureaucrats' approval, or for Europe to benefit from our economic success? And we're not going to stand by idly and watch the Biden administration and Treasury Department sacrifice American tax dollars for political gain. And I believe we will find out today that my colleagues feel exactly the same way. This deal diminishes the economic security of the United States at a time of global instability, and we just cannot take that risk. I look forward to hearing from our panel of witnesses to discuss with this subcommittee their expertise when it comes to OECD and international tax, and I really appreciate their outlook on Pillar 1.